Welcome to a video series on how to build a racetrack on Scratch. So for this video, we're on a new project. We're going to give this project a title, and that is pole position. And to get started, we're going to delete our sprite. So down here in the sprite area, we can click the blue trash can to delete our sprite. And down in the bottom right hand corner, you have a couple of options here. You can choose a sprite with this icon with a cat, or choose a backdrop, the one with a photograph. We're going to click the blue icon with the Scratch cat. Go ahead and take a moment to search the Scratch library on your own computer for a sprite you'd like to use for player number 1. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and had a chance to choose your player. This is my player number 1. It's going to be the beetle. I can change the sprite's name from beetle, and you should rename your player, your sprite, to P1 for player 1. And over here you have some information like the size and the direction that it faces. You can change the rotation by adjusting this arrow here. For now, keep it at 90, but make the size something like 50. So you can change that 100 to any number less than 100 to make it a little smaller. All right, let's add some movement to our player. So to get started, we're going to go to Events. Over on the left-hand side, you'll see some coded categories. We're going to start with Events. Every event starts with a when something happens. We want to tell our beetle here that when we click the green flag, if we push an arrow key, then we can move. So what we're going to do here, what you'll notice I started with, is a couple of control blocks. We want to tell the game that under control forever, if, and the if goes inside the forever loop, if we push an arrow key. Well, the arrow keys we can find under sensing, which is this light blue category here. If the up arrow key is pressed, then something will happen. And since this is the first video in the series, I'm going to spend some time talking you through each step and kind of how it works, why it works the way that it does. And as we go through the series, I will skip some of those explanations and just get right to the code. But for now, let's continue to explain what happens here. If the up arrow is pressed, then we're going to have a motion block, which is this dark blue category at the top. Motion, it adds movement to our character. We want to have our character move a number of steps. I'm going to have my character move 4 steps. So I can test that right now. When I click the green flag, it turns on this string or sequence of code. It's yellow, it's on. And forever, meaning when the program's running, if I push the up arrow on my keyboard, I can start to move. Now there's no backwards key or a way to spin, so that's what we're going to add next. You can go back to control and get another loop, which is the if-then loop, just as before, and that goes right under this if. You'll notice they're in a line. They're not inside of each other here. They're in a straight line. And you can actually go ahead and add 4 more, 4 total here, in addition to the one you started with, so 5 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Notice they're all in a straight line. We're going to put if key down arrow, if key left arrow, and if key right arrow is pressed. Just like that in this order. Up, down, left, right. We can add some movement to our player. Now, we need to tell our game that when we push the down arrow, move -4 steps. So next to the number 0 on your keyboard is the subtraction sign. We're going to push that once to make a negative symbol, and then type in 4, -4. So now when I click the green flag and turns on my controls, I can push the up arrow to move forward, and I can push the down arrow to move backwards. Pretty cool. Now let's add some controls to spin left and right. That is these two blocks here. Turn, we want this one, the arrow pointing left, counterclockwise, opposite the way the clock spins, counterclockwise. We're going to say when the left arrow is pressed, turn left 5 degrees, counterclockwise. When the right arrow is pressed, turn clockwise, which is to the right, 5 degrees. Now we can test all this out. I can push the up arrow and I can push left and right. Kind of looks like my bug's crawling around on the screen. That's pretty cool. When I push backwards, I can move backwards. All right, I'm going to go ahead and crawl on down here near the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to hit the stop sign. That is it for the movement controls in our first video. In the second video, we're going to start to draw our first track and start adding a course for our player. As always, pause the video and go back and rewatch anything that you need. Good luck.